This has been the Social Mission Revolution with Andrea Putting. Join me again next week when we'll speak to another social mission revolutionist who will inspire you on your journey to making your ultimate impact on the world. Welcome to the Social Mission Revolution. And today I have my first international guest on, which is very exciting, is Shelly Galvin from CBT Nuggets. And Shelly is the Corporate Responsibility Director of CBT Nuggets. So I'm excited to be able to talk to Shelly because it's a little bit of a different business. We've been talking to small businesses and with just one or two people. And I haven't actually asked you, Shelly, how many people work at CBT Nuggets, but
yeah. So, I think as of today, we probably have about 200 something. I have a number in my head, 234, but that might be incorrect. We are growing really fast. So we have been adding a lot of staff over the last year, but right now we're sitting at over 200 employees.
Fabulous. So welcome, Shelly. Welcome to the podcast. And I'd like you just tell me a little bit about yourself and about CBT Nuggets and what they do.
Sure. So, as you mentioned, I'm the Corporate Social Responsibility Director, and it's a really exciting role. It's different than most CSR roles in the States. I designed it off of kind of what I would consider more of a European model. We make more strategic partnerships with nonprofits in not just the US, but globally. And we have a really directed mission. And instead of just writing a check to those organizations, they actually get my time as a quarter-time super temp to jump into the organization and support them in any way they need. In general, it's organizational development, so helping them to set strategy, or fundraising and resource development, consulting, could be team and leadership development stuff. So just whatever the organization needs. And then if they have a grant or a directed need that we're inspired to fulfill, we also do funding of those projects.
So that's awesome. That's really awesome. I like the fact that it's not just handing over money. It's being involved in what they're doing and helping them to develop who they are.
Yeah, it has to be an organization that already has a really amazing humanitarian agenda. They have to have a program that's really set in stone, that's really innovative. We measure the organizations that we partner with on how they interact with Maslow's hierarchy. Mm-hmm. So we look for humanitarian organizations that are meeting basic needs: water, sanitation, food, shelter. But those organizations also have to be acting on empowerment programs, helping people to have village savings groups or to be more self-sustaining.
Awesome. It sounds fabulous. I'm really excited about what you're doing. It sounds like I would love being in your place and enjoying what you're doing. I think a lot of people probably would love to be doing that kind of work.
I literally have the best job.
I think so.
Yeah.
Can I come work with you? So, Shelly, if you were to, this is my question I like to ask everyone, is if there was one thing for you to fight for, what would it be? You know, you have all these things, but just pin it down to one.
Right. So I love it when people ask me this question, and it brings me back to a moment that I had in a course for the University for Peace, the UPeace, which is the UN's mandated university located in San Jose, Costa Rica. And they have an executive education center. I'm actually a professor for that, the executive education center now. But back when I was a student earning my diploma in social innovation, I took a course from a professor named John Hardman called Regenerative Leadership. And in this course, he asked all the students, what do you think is the most pressing, the worst issue in the world today? And we all kind of have our own lens. And so people were saying war or famine or global warming and poverty. And he said, no, that's not the biggest problem facing the world today. The biggest problem facing the world today is the human heart. And if we all acted through our heart, we wouldn't do any of those things in the world. We wouldn't harm each other. We wouldn't harm the environment. We wouldn't harm animals. We would work together. So for me, what would I fight for? I would fight for people to really work through their heart.
That is wonderful. I really resonate with that, because that's very much a space that I come from. When I come back to it, it's about us connecting with each other and working together. Yeah. So that is beautiful.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. So I'd love to know more about what CBT Nuggets is doing and how they got into that. Why was that so important to them?
Well, the company started way back in 1999, and it started in the basement of Dan Charbonneau and his wife, Jana. And Jana was a doctor, and Dan had been an IT trainer, and he realized that IT is such a dynamic field that people who are in IT needed a way to have access to training that was just as dynamic as what was coming out in the world. Mm-hmm. So we literally started this organization from his basement, totally a bootstrap company. It was before YouTube started, it was before YouTube was even happening.
Back in the dinosaur days of the internet, right. I call it.
Right. And so he literally would burn these training CDs in his basement and sell them on eBay and such. And so there's this like bootstrapping kind of a ethic, and he really wanted to put the learner first, and he focused on constant improvement of learning effectiveness. And as the company grew, of course, there was a lot of room for giving. And Dan and Jana were always really supportive of local charities. And for a long time, after CBT Nuggets grew up and became the behemoth that it's becoming now in this world, really what I would consider a disruptor in this field, they really had to look at how their company interacted with philanthropy. So at the time that I came into the company, every month the employees would nominate a nonprofit that they liked, and then the company would give a percentage of revenues to that nonprofit. And what ended up happening was that sometimes the nonprofit would come in and they wouldn't know what CBT Nuggets was or what we did as a company. Sometimes they would only use the funds to keep their doors open for another month. And so you couldn't really feel the impact per dollar of what was happening. So they had an employee down in Los Angeles. We're an international company. We've got employees all over the world. One of the employees nominated this great organization called Drop in the Bucket. And Drop in the Bucket was started by a record producer and his wife, who's a TV producer. And they went on a mission trip to Uganda with a bunch of medical professionals, and they learned that a lot of the medical missions were pretty redundant because they would go into a village and bring all this medicine and make the people feel better, but
haven't healed anything.
Yeah, they would leave, but then the dirty water just kept making people sick.
Yeah.
So they decided to go back home to LA and get together with their industry friends and raise some money and drill a well. And they learned, just by experience, by taking that risk, how to make an organization that didn't have to be redundant like that. They wanted to actually make a change. And so with Drop in the Bucket, Dan and Jana were able to see an organization that was making real impact in the world and get into a community and see all of the different barriers that were causing these folks to not be able to be self-sustaining and were holding them back from being healthy and taking care of themselves. And so they said, hey, this is a prime example of an organization that we want to support. And this
really important to have that self-sustaining element to what you're supporting in social mission.
Absolutely. And so, for them, it was what really sparked something around philanthropy. We want to make an investment in organizations that make a real impact in the world, who are sensitive to the needs of the actual people that they're working with. A lot of people in philanthropy today write a check to something thinking, oh, this, I'm just going to go and solve this issue, or it's easy. Yeah, all of these issues are so much more layered than I think we realize from other industries or from an outside lens. So that opportunity to be educated on how development work actually works, and that you can't just pay for a well and expect everyone's problems to be solved, but you also have to put in educational supports, menstrual hygiene management, village savings groups, different ways for people to save money so that they could repair the well if it broke. All of this was really aspirational. So Dan and Jana decided that they wanted to change their philanthropy program, and that's when I came in. And they hired me to come in and lead the charge to reorganize what philanthropy from a corporate perspective could look like for CBT Nuggets, and indeed for other businesses like our own. And we sat down and decided that we would choose 4 organizations at a time and use the same idea of helping these organizations to be as effective as possible, just like we're trying to do that with our product, helping learning to be as effective as possible. We wanted to really lean into how to make these nonprofit social impact organizations as effective as possible in the world. So instead of just writing a check, they hired me to come in because I have training to know how to do that, and also the passion and the drive to really get in deep with organizations and see if we could really make a bigger impact that way.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with that, with the ideas behind that, and trying to make their corporate giving count, so that it's not just an idea that, oh yes, we're giving and that's it. It's really making sure that what you're doing has an impact. And I'm very much what I'm about is making sure that what you give is not just in alignment with your business, but it's also doing something that's really going to make an impact in people's lives and allow them to become more self-sufficient and empowered, like you said, in their lives. It's really good. I really like it.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that from my perspective, social impact organizations are working on these big, wicked problems, and our goal shouldn't be to create an industry of social impact organizations, but rather to be problem solvers. And if our primary goal isn't to put ourselves out of a job because we've solved that problem, then we're doing a disservice in the world. So really just trying to get through making this the biggest impact that we can, so that we can move on and tackle more wicked problems.
Yeah. Let's deal with this one. That's dealt with. Let's get on to another one.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. So I see that CBT Nuggets is involved in, like you said, just 4 at a time. So that makes a big impact. But I also see on your website that each employee is encouraged to spend some time volunteering.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So we have a really amazing group of individuals that work at CBT Nuggets, and they encourage me as much as I encourage them. And when I first started out, I just put out a big survey across the organization and said, hey, what types of organizations do you volunteer time at? What types of organizations do you give money to? So that I can know what types of things are near and dear to the people that are here, that are core to our culture, and maybe find some amazing organizations to potentially partner with as well. And I was astounded at the amount of time that our employees put into working and volunteering for social impact. I have a policy that if any of my employees at CBT Nuggets want to volunteer at an organization, I will make the connection for them if they're interested or they want to know whether or not that organization is doing what they said they were doing or making as big of an impact as they would want. I do the research and help people to do that, but really it's very, very self-led. On top of that, we have a couple of days of service every year. Because our organization supports only humanitarian organizations, and for our direct partnership program, we do have a plethora of environmental organizations here. I'm in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, where environmental advocacy is a really huge, important cultural value. So we connect with the Mackenzie River Trust, which is a land restoration organization, and at least once a year we go out with them as a group, and it's really, really a lovely experience because I work at a tech company. Everything that we do is incentivized in one way or another. We have lunch catered every day. We've got games in our break room. We have a golf simulator out back, a beautiful office, and everyone has Nerf guns and just
lots of fun.
Yeah. Lots of fun, and we make a good wage, and we're supported with really good benefits. And when I asked everyone to come out and do a day of service, we didn't have rides for them. We didn't provide lunch for them. We didn't give them, the tools. They just had to show up and do it. And so many people showed up and enjoyed connecting over that work and really enjoyed being able to do that together. And it was really heartwarming to me because I didn't have to give anyone a reward or any kind of an incentive. It's just who these folks are. So I like that we can build that type of trust within our organization with each other. I like that we have that kind of a trust with society. I think it allows us to build a good trust with our market and just build trust in ourselves that we can be the best that we can be. We have every opportunity to do that. And this is just one way that I'm fortunate enough to be able to facilitate for them.
So giving is its own reward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that they just enjoy doing that. It really fills a spot in your life, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So do you find that having this persona in your business of supporting humanitarian issues and purposefully going out and making this difference, making as much impact in the world as possible, do you find that reflects into the employees? Does it help them on their day-to-day work?
Absolutely. And I get a lot of comments like that because every so often I'll put out a newsletter or a little check-in about the work that I'm doing. About 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to go to Africa and make some short documentaries about the work that our partner organizations were doing there that they could use as promotional materials for their organization. And when I showed this work and all the photography that we had done, our employees were so inspired by that and just so excited, because if you're a coder and you're working on the computer all day, sometimes your work can feel mundane, or you can feel just, trapped in your own head. But knowing that what you're doing, the work that you do, supports the helping all of these people around the world, it is really amazing. And I'd have to say, maybe about a year and a half ago, we made a donation to a local nonprofit called St. Vincent de Paul. They have a youth home. I had helped them fundraise money to finish the build of a girls' youth home for girls who are unaccompanied, which means that they're abandoned by their parents, or weren't living with their parents. They're homeless for whatever reason. Families generally homeless. There's sometimes a drug issue there. A lot of intergenerational homelessness stuff going on. But there are girls who are high performing and want to have the opportunity to finish high school, but didn't have anywhere to live. So St. Vincent de Paul had decided to build this girls' youth home. And our company decided, after we'd finished that fundraising, that they wanted to immediately scale this project and fund the build of a boys' youth home. And call it the CBT Nuggets Boys Youth Home, which is not like us. We usually don't tie our name behind things because that's not really why we do it. But our employees were so excited and inspired to be a part of an organization that was doing something to work on this big, huge problem and attacking youth and family homelessness like that, being an example for other organizations like that. I think that it creates a very high level of engagement for our employees. And it honors me more than I can say.
Yeah. So I always think that when a business is doing things like this, it makes that difference in the lives of people who work there, because, like you said, some people have a mundane job. But if in the back of their mind is thinking, as I'm doing this mundane job, the more I put into this job, the more that we can help someone else. So it starts to fill that space rather than just being, oh dear, another day.
Exactly. Yeah, I have. We have a big sales team, and I always joke with a couple of my friends that are on the sales team. Oh, did you make me some money today? I got some places to spend it. It's just,
you make it, I spend it.
Exactly. I think it's really aspirational.
Yeah, it is. That's awesome. So would you have some advice that you could share with businesses who were thinking, maybe we could do something. Maybe we could make some kind of impact outside of our everyday business. What advice would you have for them?
Absolutely. I think the first bit of advice is it doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be money that you give. We have so many resources as businesses that the social impact sector does not have access to. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned, and something that I teach in the course that I teach, is that a lot of people that get into social impact work, they're entrepreneurs, but they're social entrepreneurs, and they still need those same tools and mindsets that entrepreneurs in the money sector and whatever sector are accessing to be successful. So just sharing mentorship is incredibly valuable. At CBT Nuggets, for a long time now, we rent our computers and things, but we used to buy computers for everyone every 2 years or something, every year. And we would donate our old laptops, and we sent laptops to our partner, Drop in the Bucket. Yeah. Those are great things to share. Old cell phones are great things to share. We just sent a whole box of cell phones to our partners in Africa, which are really, really useful. you never know. I mean, hearts, hands, minds, there's marketing needs that happen. So really just the business process partnerships are really important.
Yeah.
And never be afraid to look at how you might be able to partner, because not everybody has the extra funds, but we all have a little bit of extra time that we could spend helping to change the world.
Yeah. Yes, and it's not all about money. My own social mission is not about money. And if anyone says, "Can we donate?" It's like, no money.
Yeah.
Because it's about that heart connection. It's about people connecting with each other. So we think of money, but there is just so many other resources that we can share with each other, that we can share to make the difference.
Absolutely. And I mean, that social capital alone of an organization, of a business person, is vastly different than the social capital that someone, running an impact organization might have.
Yes.
And that can mean, that can be the difference of the world for that impact organization, is just having access to meeting people that could help to progress that mission.
Yeah. So sometimes it's just about those connections. It's about,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who do you need to connect with? Well, let's see if I can help you with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fabulous.
Yeah.
So much. I could probably talk to you all day.
Absolutely.
But I probably shouldn't, because I don't think everyone wants to join us all day. So I'd like to give you an opportunity just to tell us how people can connect with CBT Nugget, because obviously it's a company that's worth supporting in life. And I think that's also something that we like to see. When a company is doing this kind of thing, then people want to engage, they want to support that business.
Oh, cool.
So how can people get involved with the trainings that CBT Nugget do?
Yeah. So CBT Nuggets is super easy to find. It's just cbtnuggets.com. We have an amazing training platform, and our mission really is just to improve the effectiveness of learning. And this places the emphasis on all the skills that our learners take with them after they've been a part of our learning community. So I would challenge anybody who is listening to this to get onto our website. We have a 7-day free trial, no strings attached or anything. You can get in and kind of check it out. And we have all different types of IT learning. So from the IT professional that's wanting to get more IT certifications or brush up on skills, we have learning there. But we also have career-driven trainings as well. So there's training in Salesforce or in Microsoft Suite, essentially all building new training every single day. So anybody that wanted to kind of see what CBT Nuggets business side is all about could just jump onto cbtnuggets.com. And if you wanted to learn more about Nugget Love, we just have a Nugget Love page up there, and you can find my work pretty easily online. But I also am open to connecting with any of the listeners. My email is nuggetlove@cbtnuggets.com.
Wonderful. So I recommend anyone get on there and at least have a look at what CBT Nuggets is doing with Nugget Love, because it really is inspiring and something for other companies to aspire to do.
Agreed. If everybody could engage a little bit more in our community could be that much better. So I just encourage connection between the business sector and the social impact sector moving forward, because I think that's what we're going to need to make the big changes that we need to make.
Absolutely. If we all just do a little bit, then we can make an enormous difference in impact in the world.
Absolutely.
Fabulous. Thank you, Shelly, for your time today. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and to learn more about what you do. And I certainly have found it very inspiring, and I'm sure the listeners will too.
Thank you. What an honor.
Thank you. And that's all for today. And see you again next week for Social Mission Revolution, where we'll speak to another social mission revolutionist. This has been the Social Mission Revolution with Andrea Putting. Join me again next week when we'll speak to another social mission revolutionist who will inspire you on your journey to making your ultimate impact on the world.